Who doesn't love adventure? We are always excited to see new incredible Guinness World Records. They are truly inspiring and breathtaking. Some world records are outright dangerous. Today, we are going to look at a few of the most dangerous and craziest world records. Before we move on, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our videos. Buried alive. Czech Republic's Fakir Zdeněk Sirotka had survived being buried underground in a coffin for 10 days without food or water, and says he has set a new world record for being buried alive, beating the previous record by 6 days. The 50-year-old could only breathe through a ventilation pipe. He said that the hardest part was the severe thirst. Sirotka said he passed the time mostly by sleeping or contemplating. He was also able to speak to his friends through the ventilation pipe. His wife, Alina, commented, "Of course I did not agree with what he did, but now that he has succeeded, I am glad. The main thing is that everything turned out okay." According to doctors, Sirotka lost almost 19 pounds in weight during his time in the coffin. Sirotka has set numerous other ridiculous world records. This is just the tip of the iceberg for him. Most pierced woman. Elaine Davidson from Brazil holds the record for world's most pierced woman. She is literally covered in piercings from head to toe. Since receiving her first piercing in January 1997, she hasn't slowed down one bit. Davidson claims to have upwards of 7,000 piercings, and she has been pierced more times than she can keep track of. The former restaurant owner is also constantly adding and replacing jewelry, mostly in her face. She enhances her exotic looks with tattoos and brightly colored makeup, and often wears feathers and streamers in her hair. Miss Davidson has recently said she never removes the rings and studs, which she estimates weigh a total of around 3 kilos. She has also stated in February 2009, when she had 6,005 piercings, including 1,500 that are internal, "I don't enjoy getting pierced, but to break the world record, you have to get to a high level. By looking at her, we can tell she sure is committed." Youngest Mount Everest climber. Jordan Romero, a 13-year-old boy from California, is officially the youngest person to ever climb Mount Everest. The previous youngest climber was Temba Tashiri of Nepal, who was 16 years old when he reached the mountain's peak. Romero climbed with a team that included his father, Paul Romero, and his stepmother, Karen Lundgren, and has been climbing since he turned 10 years old. He scaled Mount Kilimanjaro, Africa's tallest mountain, at 19,341 feet when he was just 10 years old, setting the record for the youngest person to reach Kilimanjaro's summit. He and his team also tackled Russia's Mount Elbrus in July 2007, Argentina's Mount Aconcagua in December 2007, Mount McKinley in the US in June 2008, and Indonesia's Karstens Pyramid in September 2009. Longest evasion of the FBI. Victor Manuel Gerina holds the record for managing to evade the FBI longer than any other fugitive on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. In the 65 years since the FBI first published its list of 10 most wanted fugitives, 94% of them have been located. The criminal who's been on the list longer than anyone is Victor Manuel Gerina. He was added to the list in 1984 and has still not been apprehended 36 years later. He's wanted in connection to the Los Macheteros, the Machete Wielders, Puerto Rican terror group, and the armed robbery of a Wells Fargo armored car facility in Connecticut. Working there as a security guard, Gerina tied up 2 of his co-workers at gunpoint, put $7 million in cash in his car, and fled. Many speculate that he's hiding somewhere in Cuba, and there's around a $1 million reward for information leading to his arrest. Highest pool dive. Lasso Scheller holds the record for the highest pool dive off of a diving board. On August 4, 2015, Lasso Scheller stepped to the edge of the temporary platform built special for the occasion, situated atop a waterfall, and found himself moments away from setting a new world record. Scheller, 27, was standing atop the Cascata del Salto, which is situated near the Swiss-Italian border and plummets into a pool of water far, far below, 193 feet in fact. Dozens of onlookers and a team of Red Bull videographers waited to witness and record the moment. Then, without hesitation, Scheller propelled himself into the air and set a new world record. Wearing a blue bodysuit, Scheller jumped from a height greater than the equivalent of the Tower of Pisa, the Arc de Triomphe, or a 17-story building. It is estimated that he was traveling approximately 76 miles per hour when he made contact with the surface of the water after 4 seconds of hang time. Scheller survived the dive, his only injury being a slightly dislocated hip. He became so famous that within a day, Scheller's leap was front and center on a plethora of websites and even made it onto ESPN. Rattlesnake World Record. Jackie Bibby holds all kinds of dangerous rattlesnake-related records, and he set a new one on an episode of Rattlesnake Republic. He's already climbed into a sleeping bag with 109 venomous snakes and sat in a bathtub with 195 of them. For this latest world record, he was going to try and break his own record. To beat it, he had to put 13 live rattlesnakes in his mouth. He held them by their tails and had to keep them in his mouth for 10 seconds without getting bitten. With a live audience on hand to witness the stunt, Jackie pulled it off and set the new record. It's certainly a dangerously bizarre record, but Jackie seems to enjoy these kinds of dangerous games. He has set all kinds of unique rattlesnake records. If it's crazy and dangerous and involves a rattlesnake, he seems to want to give it a shot. Crushed by motorcycles. The Canadian stuntman, Burnaby Q. Orbix, lay on a bed of nails as 70 motorcycles drove over him and broke the Guinness World Record for most motorcycles driven over a human body while lying on a bed of nails in under 2 minutes. He broke the record, which was previously held by Italy's Simone Calaitis, who had performed the same stunt with only 31 motorcycles. Orbix and his brother, Sweet Pepper Klopek, formed the act The Monsters of Schlock. Orbix told the province, "There were a lot of nerves going into it. When we do stuff together, and it's just usually the two of us doing a record, I trust him implicitly and he trusts me, so there isn't really any leeway there. We know how we are going to do things and how things are going to play out. But when the bigger motorcycles were going up, it would skin the ramp out from under me, so I was getting really nervous." Most dangerous tightrope walk. Freddie Nook holds the world record for the highest tightrope walk. He set the record by tightroping 1,350 feet without supports between Switzerland's Biancograt and the next peak over, Piz Privelis, at a height of 3,280 feet. It took Nook 39 minutes to break the previous record, which Frenchman Philippe Petit famously set in 1974, suspended at 1,350 feet between the World Trade Center towers. Nook later said that he was actually inspired to break the record when he saw Philippe set his famous world record as a small child. Nook was born into a family of daredevils, and at the age of 18, he walked his first cable car wire in the mountains of St. Moritz. He broke his first world record in 1998, completing the longest walk on the cable of an aerial tramway. In 2011, he set 7 world records in 8 days, including the longest and steepest runs on tram cables. Being the daredevil he is, Nook and his wife, Hamina, even exchanged vows on a tightrope. Airplane Eater. This man has actually eaten an entire plane. When Monsieur Mangetout was a teenager, he developed an eating disorder known as pica. Individuals diagnosed with pica have a persistent desire to eat things that have no nutritional value, such as glass, dirt, and even metal. He first began publicly performing at 16, showcasing his remarkable ability to eat objects many wouldn't think possible. Over time, his talent led to his stage name of Monsieur Mangetout, or Mr. Eat-All. Doctors noted that the reason Mr. Mangetout was able to consume all of these things was because he had a very thick lining around his stomach and intestines, giving him the ability to eat objects no one thought was possible. Furthermore, he seemed unaffected when consuming poisonous metals. While Monsieur Mangetout may not have eaten a Boeing 747 or any gigantic passenger plane, he did still eat a whopping 9 tons of metal. The plane in choice was a Cessna 150 airplane. He consumed the aircraft over a period of 2 years. He's also famous for having eaten throughout his career bicycles, shopping carts, beds, chandeliers, television sets, a small section of the Eiffel Tower, and a coffin. Bumblebee Record. Gao Bingguo holds the record for having the most bees on his body at one time. To claim this record, he wore only his underpants as he covered himself with almost 1.1 million bees, which collectively weighed 240 pounds. Bingguo was stung more than 2,000 times, and his body temperature rose to a burning 140 degrees at one point. In order to attract the bees, beekeepers started by first placing a number of queen bees on his body so as to help attract worker bees. Boxes of bees were later dumped at his feet in increasingly large numbers as the bees crawled onto his body. He smoked a cigarette to make sure the bees don't block his mouth so that he could breathe. Bingguo beat the previous world record for the heaviest coat of bees on the body, which was set at 188 pounds. And there you have it, the 10 most dangerous and crazy world records. Let us know what other topics you would like us to cover. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time!